So the purpose of this video is to demonstrate the use of Geogebra run through the Chrome app to do some investigation of parametric equations. So to get started, up in your URL area, geogebra.org, you want software, not materials, so click software. Various options come up for the download. You can download it to your computer and have it there permanently, Windows or Mac. I'm going to use the Geogebra Chrome app, and that way we run it through the browser and no one needs to download anything. Add that, and up it comes. So first, let's get the screen set up the way we want it. Over here you have the algebra area. It shows various things that will be useful later, but right now we don't need this to take up so much space on the screen. So go here, grab that, and shrink that down a little bit. The axes themselves, they're positioned quite far to the left. I'd like them more in the center. So go up to the Move Graphics View tool, click that one time. Now go down anywhere on the screen, click, hold, and drag that to somewhere more usable. Next, grid lines. It would be nice to see some grid lines. They will help us later on, so let's get some. Position your cursor anywhere on the screen. One time a right click, up comes this menu. Click on the grid item, and there we go. Now we have grid lines. Okay, so we're going to be using parameters in this, or a parameter in this investigation, the parameter t for time. We need a way of controlling that parameter, inputting and controlling that parameter. To do that, we're going to use the slider tool, which is right here. Your screen probably shows it just like you see it here. If for some reason one of these other options, button or input box, comes up, then just use the red button here in order to select slider. Where to put the slider? I'm going to put it about here. I'll click there. Now before showing the slider, Geogebra is asking for a little bit more information. That can go away. Geogebra is asking for a little bit more information. It wants to know first if this is a number, an angle, or an integer. We're going to be dealing with trigonometry, and angle will be easiest to work with here. Even though t is going to represent time in this investigation, for simplicity's sake, just enter angle and that'll keep things easy. 0 degrees through 360 degrees in increments of 5 degrees. Okay, I'm happy with that. Name for the slider. We want t for time. If you don't enter a name, then Geogebra is probably going to pick alpha, the Greek letter alpha, which is not easy to enter through the keyboard. So choose t for time, and make life easy for yourself. Click apply. Okay, there's our slider. Okay, now we want to define a point, which we will later control using this slider. So go down to the input bar here. I'm going to name this point R, and now I need to enter the x value and the y value for R. So we open a set of brackets to enter our x value and y value. The x coordinate of R, I am going to define that as cosine t. Notice the brackets around t, that's important. That's my x value. Now a comma, and then the y value. I'm going to use sine t to get started. Okay. There are lots of different choices you could make here, but this is a simple choice to get us started. So we have the point R, its x coordinate will be the cosine of t, its y value will be the sine of t. Notice the comma, notice the use of brackets. If any of that is missing, then it won't work, so be careful with that. Press enter one time. Okay. And up here we see the point R. We also notice in the algebra window some information has popped up about the current state of affairs, but let's keep our attention over here. Alright, R. If we go up to the slider and start moving the slider around, we will see that R starts moving around. And R appears to be tracing out a circle. Why would that be? Well, that's part of your job in this investigation to think about that. A useful feature in GeoGebra is this. Go down to the point R, right-click one time, and we get this menu. Trace on. Okay. Go away. Alright, with the trace on, now we go to the slider. And now when I move the slider around, you will notice that the path that R follows is nicely traced out for us. And we can see that it is indeed a circle. So the trace is a very useful feature for this investigation. So far, I have been controlling the slider manually. I'm clicking it and holding it and dragging it around. But I would like to be able to do this hands-free. I'd like the computer to do the work here. So, go to the slider, right-click, and turn animation on. And now you'll notice that the slider moves all by itself. I'm not doing anything. And point R, we can see down here, is moving around the circle according to the slider. Now R is being a little bit weird. You'll see when it hits 0 right now, bang, okay, it hits 0, it bounces, and it goes back the other way. And it goes around through 180, and 270, and then at 360, it bounces back the other way. That's not really natural. I'd like to see R just keep going around and around and around. So, we can, to fix that, go up to the slider, right-click, let's turn the animation off just for a moment. Okay, everything stops. Let's clean up the screen, get rid of that. So we go over here to the View tool and refresh views. Okay, so that path is gone. The point R is still there, but the screen is cleaned up a little bit. Now, back to the slider. Right-click, and we go to Object Properties. Object Properties is a very useful feature. You use it over and over again with GeoGebra in many different ways. This time, if I click on Object Properties, up comes this window, and I can adjust some things about the slider. We see some of the earlier information that we entered, 0, 360, increment of 5 degrees. What I'm concerned with right now is this part down here, repeat, oscillating. That, right now, is what is making it bounce back and forth. So, click there, and change that to increasing. Okay, and now we'll get a much more natural motion. Click the X to close Object Properties, go back to the slider, turn the animation on, and now observe that R just keeps on rolling. When it gets to 360, it just rolls over, goes back to 0, and keeps on going around counterclockwise. Much more natural. Okay, so that is a little introduction to the basics of getting GeoGebra set up. We've opened the app, we have set up a slider, we have introduced the point R and defined it. We've defined its x value and its y value, both in terms of the parameter t, and we've seen how to use trace and animation to observe the path of R, and that will set us up for some good thinking during this investigation. So, hope that helps. Thanks for watching.